We've hung on to every word, followed every witness and combed through every detail. And now, 5 weeks into the murder trial that's gripped the nation, the Crown has finally wrapped its case. About 60 Crown witnesses shared every confronting detail, unravelling the private lives of Philip Polkinghorne, his wife Pauline Hanna, and the days and weeks leading up to her death. In the sordid tale of sex, drugs, escorts and alleged murder, the Auckland eye surgeon is accused of killing Hanna in 2021 and staging the scene to look like a suicide.
Dr. Polkinghorne was living a double life. He was spending large amounts of money on sex workers and engaging in a number of extramarital encounters and relationships. He had a problematic methamphetamine habit.
The Crown suggested he lashed out at Hanna while high on meth, possibly during an argument over the amount of money he spent on escorts. But the defence maintains the couple had a happy, open relationship and that Polkinghorne found his wife's body after taking her own life amid mounting work and financial pressures.
Ambulance, what is the impact?
My wife did, she's hung herself.
Okay, and she's hung herself, is that correct?
Yes.
First responders described Polkinghorne as upset but reasonably composed. And the court heard suspicions were raised when investigators arrived at the scene. The jury was shown a computer-generated video inside the couple's Remuera home, revealing the orange rope Hanna allegedly used to hang herself. The court heard police at the scene conducted a tension test on the rope, which Hanna had used the day before her death to take rubbish to the tip. And the results raised doubts.
And then he's picked up that piece of rope and he's gently pulled it and it's started coming undone.
But the defence argues that's because Polkinghorne ran upstairs to undo the rope. By the second week of the trial, a police interview with Detective Alona Walton and Polkinghorne on the morning Hanna's body was found was played to the court.
And she was slouched. And there was a chair there.
Yeah.
But I could see the dressing gown was, I suppose, half on, half off. It wasn't. I could see her arms blue. And I went over and she was cold and I knew she was dead straight away.
Jurors, lawyers and the judge then left the courtroom to visit Polkinghorne's home where the alleged murder took place. The jury then heard how detectives had raided a chalet in the South Island where Polkinghorne was staying with high-profile Australian escort Madison Ashton about 25 days after his wife's death. After that, a string of Pauline Hanna's friends began to enter the witness box, sharing intimate details of the conversations they'd had.
That Philip had always liked women and that whilst he'd been away, she'd broken into his laptop and she'd found photographs of him with another woman.
Another friend, Margaret White, told the court Hanna was very unhappy about Polkinghorne's infidelities and that she messaged her one time to say he'd become beastly. The court was then played a recording of Hanna describing how her husband slept with other women.
I know he's just such a
No, but I wanted to ask
He wants to have sex with everybody and he videos it, and I've got the videos.
In week 3 of the trial, another one of Pauline Hanna's friends revealed details she'd heard about a strangulation threat.
Philip had done this to her.
We'll just capture that in our records. So you've got your hands across one another,
Yeah.
up around your neck.
Yes, with the thumbs on either side of the windpipe, and that he had done that to her and told her that he could do that any time.
But when speaking about suicide versus intentional strangulation, a forensic pathologist told the court he cannot rule out one over the other. While giving evidence, Hanna's GP says her patient reported suicidal thoughts in 2019. But Hanna's co-workers said despite her heavy workload that she was coping well. Week 4 focused on Polkinghorne's finances and the hundreds of thousands of dollars he gave to sex workers.
We should say these are all females, aren't they?
Yes.
And it was established through the investigation team that there was some connection between these women to Mr. Polkinghorne?
Correct.
A forensic accountant hired to comb through the couple's books revealed that in the 5 years leading up to Hanna's death, Polkinghorne transferred nearly $300,000 to 6 women. At least 3 of them were identified as sex workers, including Madison Ashton.
My investigation revealed that there were transfers totalling $106,131 made to Ms. Ashton, and the last payment was on the 5th of January 2021.
Deborah Boyd, the former chief executive of Auckland Eye, where Polkinghorne worked, told the court she noticed a change in his behaviour at the end of 2020 and was working there when a meth pipe was found at the clinic 5 months before Pauline Hannah's death. The eye surgeon was among several people seen on CCTV entering the clinic the weekend before it was located. Boyd says he was also one of a number of people who used a consultation room where meth was detected inside an air conditioning vent. As the Crown's case was rounded out in week 5, emotionally charged emails between Pauline Hannah and Philip Polkinghorne were read to the court.
It's a Microsoft Word document, and in the context of the text it appears to be a letter addressed to Philip.
One of a number that revealed cracks in their marriage and conflicts over money. Then the contents of Polkinghorne's phone was picked apart.
There were 826 images of adult pornography. There were approximately 3,686 images of a sexual nature.
A long chain of WhatsApp messages between Polkinghorne and Australian escort Madison Ashton in the immediate aftermath of Hannah's death were revealed, as well as searches on how to delete iCloud storage and the fact that the eye surgeon had deleted phone call logs 3 days after his wife's death. An assertion was then made by the defence during cross-examination that Pauline Hannah had used her phone to draft 2 unsent messages just 4 hours before Polkinghorne alerted emergency services to her death. But an 11th hour witness called by the Crown poured cold water on the theory.
I have checked around inside the database, which is raw database that's been extracted from the phone. There was no user interaction of the phone at all.
Polkinghorne's defence team will now take its turn calling witnesses to the stand before the jury of 9 women and 3 men consider their verdict and decide the eye surgeon's fate.